Good afternoon, scholars. Welcome to week 2 of BMG 140 Introduction to Business. Let's start by touching base to see where we are after our first week. Hopefully everyone enjoyed their spring breaks. So after our assignments from week 1, our current point total is 15 points. So many of you have worked ahead, which is great. Continue to do so. When you're trying to assess what your current grade is, don't include activities that are not due yet. So only include activities that were previously due. And so for our first week, that is the orientation quiz and also the first discussion. So that's our first 15 points. Measure your points on both of those assignments against that. There was extra credit involved in the course orientation quiz, so many of you are starting off on a great foot. Let's look to week 2. So this week, this unit, we're going to have the full 2 weeks, so we're only doing one chapter each week. So for this week, we're starting with entrepreneurship. So let's take a quick look at what we're going to learn in entrepreneurship. And also, reading you all's discussion, a lot of you have many things in common, so that's exciting. Many of you mentioned starting your own businesses, so hopefully you'll really enjoy this chapter. So just real quick, small businesses fuel the economic engine of the U.S. When we talk about small businesses, it is a little tricky because small is relative. It's relative to the industry that you're in. Sometimes you'll see a question that asks you what number of employees define a small business. If you see that, the answer is 500 or less. However, the real answer is that it's relative because you can use Tesla for an example. At last count, I believe they had a little over 10,000 employees, but they're still considered a small business because if you look at your other automobile manufacturers, GM, Ford, Chrysler, you're talking of 200,000 plus employees. So it is relative to the industry, but just keep in mind if it asks you to quantify it, the answer is going to be 500 or less. So what does it take to be an entrepreneur? Someone who's willing to take risks. You're accepting the risk with the promise of the reward. It can be a big reward. It can be no reward. So that's the risk that's involved in it. So anytime you speak of entrepreneurs, you're always going to hear the word risk associated with it because it's someone who is risking their time, their talents, their abilities with the hopes that it's going to pay off. Moving a little bit further. This is really good because it's going to help you walk you through a business plan. So if you are thinking about being an entrepreneur, this is great useful information that you can use. One thing I want to point out with your business plan is the executive summary. Your executive summary, it should be done last. This is your high-level overview of everything that's in your business plan. So that's the reason why you should do it last. You should go through everything first, your descriptions, your forecasting, your plans, and then you come back and you summarize each one of those in the executive summary. So that way you get the reader's attention. They can go to different sections to see what's important to them and get a quick review or detail of what you're planning to accomplish. So that's the chapter that we're going on this week. Let's jump to Blackboard to make sure we are following everything correctly. So we're going to go to Blackboard. You start here on the home page. We're going to go to our learning units. We're going to go to unit number 1. And here, again, it outlines everything that you're supposed to do. So again, this week, we are only focusing on chapter 1. But if you continue, next week it's going to be business form, which is a follow-up to entrepreneurship. So actually following the steps to be a legally authorized business and what steps you should take. Also, there is your career discussion this week. So your first response is due by this Thursday, 3/7 by 10 p.m. And then you have 2 replies that are due by Sunday at 10 p.m. This discussion is about networking. So it's asking you, what's the purpose of networking? How do you build your network? Do you already have people in your network? So it's a detailed discussion with activities surrounding around networking, which is essential, especially to an entrepreneur. So have an amazing week. If you have any questions, please let me know.